All right, Shima girls, welcome to another one. Yeah, this is Shima from Shima Hair 21, yours truly. Okay, I'm happy to see you here. Welcome to my newbies as well. Okay, so in this video, we're going to discuss Shima's 4 tips to avoid over damaging our hair. That's right. Not only is our hair already damaged, for those of us who have damaged hair, but we are doubling it, sometimes even tripling the damage with the improper black hair care practices that we are unfortunately practicing. Okay, so that's what this video is going to be about. I'm going to share 4 tips to avoid over damaging afro textured hair, our hair. Okay, dry afro textured hair. Okay, remember, hair dryness is our #1 issue when it comes to growing out our hair to extreme lengths. In my channel, we can grow our hair to extreme lengths, but we have to know the right hair care practices, and we have to know what are the right hair care and hair growth products to use, okay, to help us out. Okay, so let's go. Let's look at what I have here for us. Okay, first and foremost, do not braid hair on top of hair that's already damaged. Okay, so do not braid hair on top of already damaged hair, ladies. Okay, especially if your hair has been color treated. Okay, it will double the damage. That's what we're trying to avoid, doubling the damage on already damaged hair. Okay, #1, why we shouldn't do this is because they use chemicals on synthetic hair. Yes, unfortunately, there's been, these recent reviews, these recent, facts actually that have been tested and shown, if you bother to do your own research on it, you'll see that synthetic hair unfortunately has carcinogens in it, has lead in it. We're going to go over, the type of harmful chemicals that, most of our synthetic hair has, unfortunately, that we've been using throughout all these years, 30 plus years of using these synthetic hairs. And now they tell us, right? Okay. #2, most hair color treatments is nothing but chemicals. Okay, that's what it is. If you're using permanent hair dye, semi-permanent hair dyes, that's a chemical treatment. So do not, if your hair is already damaged and you also have a hair color treatment on, it's gonna double the damage with the damaging chemicals that are found in the synthetic hair. And I think that damage comes when that's all we do when we use synthetic hair all the time as a hairstyle or even as a protective style. All the time we're wearing synthetic hair. There has to come a point in time where we just use our own real hair, to do our protective styling, ladies. Something as simple as 2-strand twist we can do on our hair. Or even if it's too short to do a protective style, at least keep it wrapped in a silk scarf. Okay, at least that. Let's try to avoid anything chemical for as long as we can. All right. Now back to the chemicals that are found in the synthetic hairs. Okay, so research/testing has shown, ladies, that synthetic hair products often contain harmful chemicals, okay, such as, like I said before, carcinogens. They contain lead and volatile organic, compounds, also known as VOCs, which pose significant health risks to users. Okay, 9 times out of 10, these users are us, the black woman. Okay, now when you see the word carcinogens, ladies, that word oftentimes is linked to cancer-causing chemicals. Okay, so you hear the word carcinogens, that means cancer-causing chemicals, unfortunately. And when you see the word lead, ladies, which is, testing has revealed when it comes to the synthetic hair. Okay, testing has revealed that at least 90% of synthetic hair contains lead. Okay, and that's very often, but basically almost 100%. We may as well say 100%. 10%. Where can we find those 10% of synthetic hair that doesn't contain lead? Come on, so lead refers to heavy metals that also is negatively affecting our health as black women, ladies. So for example, lead, can lead to developmental delays and cognitive impairments, and we don't want that, ladies. Lead I didn't even know that synthetic hair contained lead, to be honest. I thought lead was bad, period. I don't know why it contains it at all, you know. And some of these synthetic hair weaves, you know, that they did the testing on exceeded the allowable lead level by 600%. So as you can see, Shima girls, a lot of these companies don't give a F, you know, about us, you know, and our health. We are the ones who need to give an F about us and our health. Okay, so let's continue to listen up, ladies. All right, do not relax hair on damaged hair. Okay, so for example, not only are we doubling the damage to our hair and scalps, ladies, we're doubling the damage to our hair and scalps by doing this, you know, by relaxing already damaged hair. But let's remember that relaxers too have been found to negatively affect our health as Black women, you know, by giving us fibroids, by giving us cysts, you know, healthcare articles, a lot of healthcare articles, you can find them on your own, ladies. And if you've been watching certain newscasts, everywhere have recently been covering this topic. Okay, so for example, one article that I found, ladies, you know, the negative effects of hair relaxers is as follows. I'm going to read this to you. Okay, so the article states the following: do hair relaxers cause fibroids? The Black Women's Health Study in USA followed 23,580 premenopausal women to see who developed fibroids. It found that women who had used hair relaxers were 17% more likely to develop fibroids compared to women who never had. 17%. Even though it doesn't sound like a lot, it still shouldn't be doing that. Shouldn't be negatively affecting anybody's health. You know, why is the FDA approving anything that affects anybody's health to that degree, causing fibroids, causing cysts that are so painful that requires us to spend money on medication and surgeries? We lose our wombs because of that. You know, we literally always told to, you gotta remove the uterus because of these fibroids. A lot of us Black women have gone through horrific surgeries and pain, you know, that could have been easily avoided. Okay, if they'll just be honest with us from the beginning. Okay, so of the women who used hair relaxers for 10 years or longer, the risk of fibroids increased with frequency of hair relaxer use per year. These results suggest there is an association with hair relaxer use and fibroid risk. Okay, so this is the testing. They're showing us what they found. They show that the longer you use relaxer and having a higher number of burns increase your chances of developing fibroids. The study showed the following behaviors increase your risk of uterine fibroids. Okay, so they listed using relaxers at all, even if just once. So check that out. I didn't know that. Just one time you use a relaxer, you're prone to getting fibroids. Check that out. Now they tell us, after 30, 40 years of these products being on the market for us Black women, now they want to warn us, right? Okay, using relaxers for a longer length of time, increased frequency of relaxer use, increased number of scalp burns with relaxer use. In recent years, studies have started to identify a link between use of chemical hair relaxers and endometrial womb cancer. And you see, Shima girls, it just gets worse and worse. It's just incredible. Let's look deeper at this finding, okay? Let's look deeper at this finding. One study of 33,947 women aged 35 to 74 years old found that using relaxers within the last year increased the overall risk of endometrial cancer. Okay, another looking at the long-term use of relaxers in 44,798 women found the risk to increase in postmenopausal women, but found no change in those who were premenopausal. And this is why it's so much safer, ladies, for us to go natural. I'm natural, 100% natural. Been natural over 3 years now and loving it, okay? And as you can see, my hair has grown beautifully, okay, without using chemical treatments, okay, without relaxers. And of course, even then, we still, have to exercise caution, ladies, with what we put in our hair. Even if we go natural, always exercise caution with what you're still putting in your hair, and also what we eat, ladies. So I advise you, ladies, to also do your own research. So just take my word for it. Do your own research. You may find other things, that will help you determine, the right path to take when it comes to using particular products and procedures and treatments, ladies. Okay. So let's learn to do our own research as well. I'm sharing with you what I found. Okay. So the best thing we can do is either lean towards 100% organic to mostly organic, hair care products and the foods that we input into our bodies, ladies. Let's just try to be as organic as humanly possible. Okay. But with all of that said, this is a reality check. Unfortunately, not all of us Black women, we're going to stop using relaxers like that. So first of all, we've been conditioned so long, that relaxers is, it's easier. It makes hair care easier for us because it's straighter hair. There's ladies that are like that, and that we look better with relaxed hair as opposed to natural hair. All of that exists. Okay, but to each their own. So I'm speaking to the ladies that will continue to use relaxers. All I can tell you is stretch. Please try to stretch. Just relax your hair no more than twice a year. If anything, just once a year. Okay, until it weans you out. Eventually weans you out and you go natural. But you've heard the studies. You heard the findings. They have carcinogens, lead, what the synthetic hair does, but the relaxers are causing womb issues. They're also causing fibroids, cysts, and even cancer. Okay, so let's be extremely careful. Let's take what we learn and let's apply it. Okay, ladies, let's just be careful. Okay, so to the ladies that are still going to use relaxers and you have sores or you have super itchy scalps and things of that nature, then I advise you to skip the relaxer and address those issues first. Again, if you are experiencing scalp sores, super itchy scalp, super dry scalp, anything scalp related, that's going to double the damage if you proceed to use the relaxer. Don't use the relaxer until you address those issues first, ladies. Okay, now how do you address these issues? Okay, well, if you have sores on your scalps, ladies, you may need to consult, first of all, an experienced hair technician or dermatologist, okay? But oftentimes you can easily treat your scalp sores at home with the right products, okay, and the right techniques. Sometimes this is easily fixable at home, okay? But you got to know what you're doing. You got to know the right products to use. So from my experience, I'm going to tell you what has worked for me, in these particular cases. So get your hands on the right products that correctly addresses your scalp issues first. Okay, ladies? So if you have super itchy scalps, I'm going to tell you about two products, okay? Two products that can instantly address your issues. Number one, get your hands on a jar of medicated sulfur 8. Okay, I personally have gotten good results using the medicated sulfur 8. Okay, and it's good for dandruff, flaky scalps, and itchy scalps. Okay, it worked for me. Okay, make sure you're parting your hair properly. As many parts as you need to properly apply the sulfur 8 throughout your scalp. Okay, only a little bit goes a long way. Now, the second product, ladies, that you need to get your hands on is my Shima homemade hair butter. All right, get your hands on my Shima homemade hair butter because shea butter is excellent at treating dry scalps. It's excellent at treating itchy scalps and all forms of mild to light scalp irritations. Now, this is because the shea butter in my Shima homemade hair butter contains a high amount of fatty acids. Okay, now this high amount of fatty acids is essential to soothing and alleviating everything from dry scalps to itchy scalps to irritated scalps, and at the same time moisturizes and helps to grow your hair, which is wonderful. That's what we want, to grow out our hair. At the end of the day, we're on my Shima Hair 21 channel to grow fairy tale mythical hair. So get your hands on my Shima homemade hair butter, get your hands on some sulfur 8, and you'll be good. Until that issue with your scalp, is alleviated, do not proceed to put a hair relaxer in your hair. You're gonna cause some serious issues, with your scalp. It may lead to severe hair baldness. It may lead to severe hair thinning. You can avoid all that, okay, if you listen to these words of wisdom, ladies. Okay, patience is a virtue. Okay, let's embrace patience, ladies. Okay, when it comes to growing our hair, yes, we need to embrace patience. Our hair didn't get damaged overnight, and it's not going to grow overnight. Okay, so in extreme cases, if your hair is super damaged, you're gonna have to look at 6 months, take 6 months to even a year to properly regrow your hair. Properly grow out your hair, ladies, and take care of that damage. Okay, so in other words, you need to allow yourself enough time for your hair to bounce back. Let your hair bounce back, gently, naturally. So for example, if you're afraid of a big chop, then skip the big chop. Trim your hair a little bit at a time. I sort of did the big chop. I started first from the back, and then I worked up the courage to do the front. So even I was afraid, but I did it. But you have to cut off the damaged hair, ladies. Okay, don't hang on to damaged hair. It's just self-defeating. So let's champion that old saying, patience is a virtue. Okay, so that we can completely revert that damage. Okay, whether it's gonna take us 6 months to a year. I'm talking about the severe cases. In the mild to light cases, once you're doing the proper hair care techniques, using the proper Shima hair growth products, okay, which caters uniquely to Afro textured hair, you'll solve your mild to light hair issues or scalp issues within the course of 2 weeks to maybe 3 weeks. Okay, you'll start seeing amazing results. Okay, but you must remain consistent, and still, patience is a virtue, ladies. So, okay, Shima girls, thank you for being with me yet again in the new Shima hair growth video. I hope that my information, is helping you. I hope that my words are encouraging you. I really hope that, at least somebody out there is listening, and you'll see that your hair is going to thrive. Your hair is going to grow. We're here to grow out our hair together. All right, Afro textured hair can grow to fairy tale mythical lengths. Don't let nobody, deter you from your dream. God bless you. Take care. See you soon.